DK Audio presents The History Book by DK, read by Gordon Griffin. Introduction. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santayana, The Life of Reason, 1905. To live with men of an earlier age is like travelling in foreign lands. René Descartes. Discourse on Method, 1637. History is little more than the crimes, follies, and misfortunes of mankind. Edward Gibbon, The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, 1776. We are not makers of history, we are made by history. Martin Luther King, Jr., Strength to Love, 1963. The ultimate aim of history is human self-knowledge. In the words of 20th century historian R.G. Collingwood, the value of history is that it teaches us what man has done and thus what man is. We cannot hope to understand our lives without it. History itself has a history. From earliest times, all societies, literate or pre-literate, told stories about their origins or their past. Usually imaginative tales centering around the acts of gods and heroes. The first literate civilizations also kept records of the actions of their rulers, inscribed on clay tablets or on the walls of palaces and temples. But at first, these ancient societies made no attempt at a systematic inquiry into the truth of the past. They did not differentiate between what had really happened and the events manifest in myth and legend. Ancient historical narrative. It was the ancient Greek writers Herodotus and Thucydides in the 5th century BCE who first explored questions about the past through the collection and interpretation of evidence. The word history, first used by Herodotus, means enquiry in Greek. Herodotus's work still contained a considerable mixture of myth, but Thucydides' account of the Peloponnesian War satisfies most criteria of modern historical study. It was based on interviews with eyewitnesses of the conflict and attributed events to human agency rather than the intervention and actions of the gods. Thucydides had invented one of the most durable forms of history, the detailed narrative of war and political conflict, diplomacy, and decision-making, the subsequent rise of Rome to dominance of the Mediterranean world, encouraged historians to develop another genre of broader scope, the account of how we got to where we are today. The Hellenic historian Polybius, 200 to 118 BCE, and the Roman historian Livy, 59 BCE to 17 CE, both sought to create a narrative of the rise of Rome, a big picture that would help to make sense of events on a large timescale. Although restricted to the Roman world, this was the beginning of what is sometimes called universal history, which attempts to describe progress from earliest origins to the present as a story with a goal, giving the past apparent purpose and direction. At the same period in China, historian Sima Qian, circa 145 to 86 BCE, was similarly tracing Chinese history over thousands of years, from the legendary Yellow Emperor, circa 2697 BCE, to the Han Dynasty under Emperor Wu, circa 109 BCE. Moral lessons. As well as making sense of events through narratives, historians in the ancient world established the tradition of history as a source of moral lessons and reflections. The history writing of Livy and Tacitus, 56 to 117 CE, for instance, was in part designed to examine the behaviour of heroes and villains, meditating on the strengths and weaknesses in the characters of emperors and generals, providing exemplars for the virtuous to imitate or shun. This continues to be one of the functions of history. French chronicler Jean Froissart, 1337
Sample complete. Ready to continue?